Hello, everyone, and welcome to another beer review. Now, we're going to be starting another series. Now, there's quite a few series on the go. We've got obviously bargain kind of 5 litre kegs, which is quite interesting to some and maybe less so to others. We've just got also general reviews, and we're getting quite a lot of donations from Adrian, which is very nice. We've also still got the Belgian series, and I've got a lot of Belgian beers I kind of get wired into. There's also still a continuation of the kind of Leeds stroke kind of Yorkshire series. I'm waiting for some beers to come in because there's quite a few still to come in that haven't arrived yet. So once they come in, I'm going to do obviously quite a lot of them and get them stacked up as well. But our new series is going to be, it's because what I noticed, unfortunately, there's been a lot of advertisement coming up recently, and I watch quite a lot of YouTube because I'm one of these sad people. And what happens is that I've been noticing a lot of advertisement. They seem to think this is a good idea for me. Why don't we advertise low alcohol or non-alcoholic beer to me? Because that's exactly what I'm pining for. I'm sitting there thinking, I don't need this nice glass of whatever ale I'm drinking. I would be far better without the alcohol. And you know what? They've pegged me 100% correctly. They really do. They do. They know me better than I know myself. I'm sitting there thinking that's exactly what bollocks. Um. So what I thought is, are these beers any good? So I've got a couple that I'm actually going to compare with their alcohol version. I think I've got a Doombar low alcohol. So I'll compare that to Doombar itself. I think I've got a Shipman's is a Ghost Ship, and I'll compare that to the original. I've got an Erdinger, but the problem is that's actually the low alcohol, non-alcoholic version is classed as an isotonic drink rather than a non-alcoholic lager or wheat beer. So it'll be interesting to see how that compares. But I've got one here. It's an unfiltered lager, and it's 0.5%. It's Lucky Saint. So it's an unfiltered lager. I don't know if it's any good. Is there any spiel about it? It says, moderation isn't the dirty word. It once was. Yeah, okay. We've woken up from the hangover with a clear head and big ambitions. To specialise where others don't, to innovate where others aren't, to finally reward those who aren't drinking with the beer they deserve. There we go. It's got water, barley, yeast and hops, brewed in Germany for not another beer company in the UK. So apparently it's brewed in Germany, it's an unfiltered. Apparently it's progressively crafted with over 400 years of proud brewing heritage. We leave our beers unfiltered for maximum flavour, even without the alcohol. And apparently it says serve at 4 degrees C, it's got 53 calories, it's fermented at 8 degrees and conditioned at 2 degrees for 42 days. Lucky Saint is born of Bavarian spring water, Pilsner malt, Hellertau hops, and a single-use yeast. Discover biscuity malts and a smooth citrus hop finish. So there you go. So by God, they built it up. Now I remember what we used to get as a kind of non-alcoholic or really low alcoholic. I think we had Klausthaler when I was younger. I remember drinking that as a kid. And then years it had, was it Barbican or something like that? That was done by the Guinness company. Yeah, that was memorable. So yes, do you know what was strange? And just kind of looking at all these kind of strange things, like oh, the big kind of it's a non-alcoholic beer, isn't that wonderful? Oh, we've never had that before. But just some of the strange kind of conversations people have. Now, sometimes I have to go into banks with my work, and I was in a bank one day. Now, the problem is because if you're working in banks, a lot of the branch staff kind of see you just kind of, part of the kind of working team when you're in there. So you tend to kind of like be included in some of their conversations. They were having this kind of conversation. And one of them turned round to me and she asked me this question. And the question was, do you really think a man and a woman can really be friends? And my response to her was, well, if they can't, I don't know what the hell I'm doing with my sisters then. Because I hope to God it's friendly. I hope to God it's not anything else. But anyway, she didn't really understand my response, thinking, what do you mean? Well, I would expect myself to be more friendly with my sisters than any other things, especially in the eyes of the law. Now, all her friends, all her other kind of work colleagues, they're like, what? Still didn't get it. Anyway, but apparently she seems to think that it's very difficult for men and women to be friends. I don't really understand that. I really honestly don't. In fact, there's a lot of women I'd rather be friends with than anything else. Oh, there's also a lot of women I'd probably rather not be friends with in some aspects as well. So it works both ways. I mean, I just think it's a bit strange that we're still having these kind of discussions and debates so many years on, thinking we're past all that. But anyway, just like I thought we were past non-alcoholic beers, but apparently, like indigestion and heartburn, they do come back. So let's crack this one open. Jesus God, what's this? Let me see. There we go. So let's get it poured, unfiltered. It might be a nice lager. You never know. But I'm doing it is because obviously they're becoming more and more popular. They're getting a far bigger variety. A lot of the kind of breweries are doing kind of non-alcoholic versions of their kind of original and kind of main brand. So I thought, well, what I'm getting is sweetness. Now, this is what I used to get. This is what I used to remember from Klaus Thaler and Barbican and things like that, was a very kind of unnatural sweetness that you just didn't get in alcoholic beers. I don't know, it was just a very kind of strange, kind of unnatural, kind of grainy smell and sweetness kind of smell, but not a kind of malty sweetness. It was kind of a strange sweetness. So this is what it looks like. You can see it's a bit cloudy. Oh God, here we go. It's a kind of strange one. You're getting some. What did they put on there? Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting quite a grainy smell. Quite a grainy smell. Ever so slight kind of salsa smell. But I'm also getting this very strange, unnatural kind of sweetness kind of smell as well. But it's not kind of really malty kind of sweetness. It seems to be a sweetness kind of separate from the malt. And that's what I'm kind of getting. But yeah, it does smell like a kind of more of a Bavarian type beer anyway. It does smell more like a German beer. From that point of view. It also has a kind of smell of like kind of more of the kind of Belgian kind of like, Hoegaarden and things like that. Yeah, bit of smell to it and a bit of just like left kind of smell to it as well. So let's see what it tastes like. Right. The first impressions is it's lacking. It's lacking. It's like there's no bite to it whatsoever. You're expecting certain, you're getting some initial flavours and you think, and it just doesn't go past that. It's like, well, that's all we've got. You know what it's like? It's like firing a water pistol without any water. It looks like a water pistol. It acts like a water pistol. It even makes a noise when you press the trigger like a water pistol, but nothing really comes out. And that's what it's like. It's like, all mouth and absolutely no trousers whatsoever. Um, Now, I think this was roughly about 180, 190 a bottle, and it's only a 330ml bottle, and it's 0.5%. Let's break down the flavour, but it's not going to take long. Right. Right, it starts off with a kind of malty flavour, but not a malty sweetness. There is a sweetness, quite a strong sweetness to start with at the front of the mouth, but it's completely separate from the malt, so you're getting a slight kind of malt flavour. You're getting a kind of grainy kind of flavour. And then you get this sweetness from basically nowhere, and it seems to be completely disconnected from the other two flavours. So you think, well, it really should be connected to the malt, and it isn't. It's not connected to any of them. So it's like three separate flavours. Take your pick. Bloody hell. That is a bit gassy. Moves on to the kind of mid tongue, and you just got this kind of grain flavour, and this kind of strange, kind of disjointed and disconnected kind of sweetness that's there as a kind of underlying feed all the way through. And the malt is buggered off. It's thought, well, I can't be asking on to the kind of mid tongue now. I've done my bit. I've made an appearance. I'm off. So that's given up the ghost. So you're now left with a two-horse race between this kind of disconnected sweetness and this kind of grain flavour, which then moves on to the kind of aftertaste. And it's like, somebody's kind of tried to kind of add some hops. So you get this kind of, again, disconnected bitterness coming in from nowhere, but it's so light and kind of accenty. It's like, well, I'm here, but it's not strong enough to get past the grain flavour, and it's not strong enough to get past this kind of disconnected and disjointed sweetness. So it's like standing at the back, but the school photographs waving his hands and all that type of stuff. But it's the class midget, basically. So you can hear it, but you can't see it, and that's what it's like. You kind of feel it, but you can't really taste it. So it kind of finishes off between the kind of like this kind of grainy flavour and this kind of disconnected sweetness kind of trying to fight each other in the aftertaste, which neither wins because they both kind of dissipate and become very forgetful very quickly. Lucky saint. I'll be totally honest, it's not any better than the Klaus Hallis and the Barbicans, and they were pretty crap in those days. I mean, obviously the Klaus Haller was the bee's knees when I was a kid. Oh yes, oh yeah. In my younger days, oh yeah, wee bee knees. Oh, there we go. Used to be able to get at the local ice cream kiosk. Don't know why I had that, but I used to have little bottles of Klaus Haller. So I used to go down with my sisters and say, "Want ice cream?" I'll take a bottle of Klaus Haller. You get these taste buds activated, for later life. Yeah, it shows you which I was drinking. So yeah, I don't think they managed to improve with all the wonderful technologies and all the wonderful hybrid hops and everything else. It's still a shark with no teeth, basically. Might as well be a bloody dolphin. No, there's nothing really there. Really quite disappointing. A very, very poor imitation. And my view is this better than maybe going for, like, say, a lemonade or a Coke or something like that? I mean, a Coke with ice and lemon or orange slice in it, or a nice kind of lemonade with ice and lemon. It's far nicer and far more realistic than this rubbish. And guaranteeing the pub they probably charge you kind of beer prices for this. In my view, is you're better off with a can of Coke. And I'm not a fan of kind of soft drinks and Coke. Maybe better off with a Britvic orange juice or something like that than this rubbish. I mean, £1.90 for that? A bloody cheek, really? No. Unfortunately, with this one, it just falls short, the same as all the older kind of attempts at non-alcoholic or low-alcoholic beers. It just doesn't work. So, what would I give this out of 10 as a low-alcohol beer? Well, I'm going to give it a 2. It's just rather pathetic, really. 2 out of 10. For the price of it, I wouldn't bother. I'm not saying that there won't be ones that are maybe better and more realistic, but this one, well, let's be totally honest. It's like your mum tried to do a Les Dawson impression. Just because she's big boned and got a bit of a beer belly and she can take her teeth out, doesn't necessarily mean she can actually do Les Dawson. So, no, don't bother. Save your money. Maybe get a nice water or something like that, because it probably has more character and more flavour. So yes, it's 2 out of 10. Don't recommend it. It's Lucky Saint. It's £1.90 for a 330ml bottle. It's 0.5%, and it's a complete waste of time, to be totally honest. So, thanks for watching. Cheers, and bye for now.